Welcome back to another episode of MotoGP Mac, and today we're going to talk about the sprint race that just happened for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Portimao. Now, before we get into it, here is how it finished. Maverick Vinales won it from Marc Marquez, Jorge Martin, Pecco Bagnaia, Jack Miller, Enea Bastianini, Pedro Acosta, Aleix Espargaro, Fabio Quartararo, Raul Fernandez, Marco Bezzecchi, Miguel Oliveira, Alex Marquez, Joan Mir, Augusto Fernandez, Franco Morbidelli, Taka Nakagami, Luca Marini, Johan Zarco crashed, Brad Binder crashed, Fabio Di Giannantonio crashed, and so did Alex Rins. Now, I must say, it was an absolutely epic race. One they took off, it was absolutely brilliant. Miller got the whole shot, was doing really well. Mav was also pretty decent, to be fair. Pecco was again very strong, very un-Pecco-like, very aggressive at the start. Wasn't long before he did get to the front, leading the race, and then made a mistake and opened the door for Vinales, Martin, and Marquez to go through. But let's start with Maverick Vinales. He did a really, really, really good race. This is probably, to be fair, the best I've ever seen Vinales, who is very, very sick with gastroenteritis. Apparently, he's lost 2.5 kilos just this weekend alone from the sickness. Marc Marquez, what can you say about Marc? He definitely is enjoying the Ducati around Portimao. Running consistently in third in the sprint race. He did dive underneath Jorge Martin in turn 5 on the last lap. Really, really good ride. Good to see Marquez there. I am no doubt he is very happy with his first podium for Ducati. Jorge Martin, again, is a little bit subdued. He's definitely having some issues. He wasn't the same Jorge Martin that was lightning fast as normal. So there's definitely something going on there that he needs to get sorted. I wonder, is he still suffering the chatter problem? Pecco Bagnaia, look, he was epic until he made that mistake and the bike snapped sideways in the braking for turn 1, which is definitely not a place that you want that to happen. Had to roll off the brakes and lost about 3 seconds ish in that lap. So he was pressured all the way home by Jack Miller, who had a really good solid race. I will say too that Jack did really, really well there. Enea Bastianini, kind of a poor result, seeing that he started on pole, didn't get the best of starts, got crowded, and didn't really get to run his own race, let's just say. Pedro Acosta, brilliant race from him. He was absolutely flying. Kept Bastianini very, very honest, if I must admit. Aleix Espargaro, not such a great race compared to his teammate, but again, it was solid enough inside the top 10. Fabio Quartararo started 9th, finished 9th. Not really too much you can say about it. You could definitely see that there is a big difference in pace. Losing 7.5 seconds in 12 laps, is not really acceptable for Fabio. Raul Fernandez, really good race for Raul. The 23 spec chassis definitely serving him well, as he was the first of the Trackhouse Racing bikes home. Better race weekend so far for Marco Bezzecchi. He does seem to be getting to grips slightly with the GP23. And for the homeboy hero, Miguel Oliveira, not such a great race. Definitely beaten and well beaten by his teammate. But then, next race tomorrow is more that suits him rather than the out and out sprint race. Marquez, I expected a little bit more from him, to being honest. But again, solid enough so far this weekend. Joan Mir, 14th on a Honda. It's 2 points. Fair play to him. They're definitely up against it here. Augusto Fernandez got a point, but again, he is nearly 10 seconds behind his teammate after 12 laps, which is not really the best of form. Franco Morbidelli, still struggling to get a hold of that bike. He did look really good in practice, especially in mixed weather conditions, actually. But when everyone was very angry and race face turned on, not really at the races. Taka Nakagami, same sort of thing, 16 laps or 16 seconds behind in 12 laps, not really at the races at all. But, you know, poor Luca Marini, who was already banged up enough, you know, big testing crash midweek, crashed again yesterday. He's running about 2 seconds a lap slower than everyone, 24 seconds in 12 laps behind. So not really the best. Zarco, as I mentioned, did crash. Brad Binder, I put the curse on him by saying that he was going to win, and he did also crash. Fabio Di Gianantonio did crash as well, which was a pity. You know, I think the spotlight is quite on him as well for a Ducati contract next season, but he's looped it twice now in sprint races, so we want to get onto it. I didn't see what happened to Alex Rins, but he is down as a non-contest, so that's normally that he either crashed or retired, which was a pity. Overall, I thought it was an epic race. I was delighted with the sprint. You know, it really gets the fire going, although tomorrow's race will be at a slower pace due to the length of it. You know, you just cannot beat racing around Portimao. The only other thing that I feel kind of sorry about is that while Maverick did take the win today, the win does not stand as a Grand Prix win. So therefore, you know, he didn't become the first rider to win on 3 different manufacturers. But all in all, it was an epic race. Can't wait for tomorrow's race. But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the sprint race? Who stood out for you? And who is your race favorite for tomorrow? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.